Welcome back to Angry Roads. Dave here, and we are talking R1 Teach Mode today. How I think I'm going to be using Teach Mode, what I think it does for the device, and why I think it's such an important milestone for the R1 in and of itself. I mean, that last part's probably pretty self-explanatory, but either way, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe down below. We've got plenty of other R1 videos, and it just evolves with time, as you can see. So let's jump into it. Teach Mode really represents a huge step for the R1, in my opinion. We are talking about the R1 doing the thing that everybody was so excited about it doing from the very beginning. This gives you the ability to use the R1 to be an agent for you for essentially any website. Obviously, there are teething issues. It's still in beta, so I'm not going to try and defend problems that people might have or issues that people might be facing. But for myself, after a little bit of tweaking, a little bit of understanding, and a lot of practice, I feel like I got some pretty good results. So what I wanted to do today was show you a quick walkthrough of one of the lessons I gave to it and why I think it's such a big step. So I wanted to make a Teach Mode lesson that would read a Reddit post for me. You'll see here that logging in is not necessary for this one, so I skipped that part altogether. The lesson name is important, but I think less important than the description. I found that it will get its keywords from the description itself of what you want it to do. That's been my experience anyway. Please let me know down below if you've experienced something else. So being very specific here is important. I wanted it to read me a scary story, so I was trying to be specific about the no sleep subreddit, but you'll find that it can actually extrapolate that to almost any subreddit once you've given it the right instructions. Now here I'm going to show you probably what I've found in my experimentation, what the most important thing to do is, which is as you go through your steps, to annotate the actions itself. So the more instruction you give it, the better it gets at understanding what you're trying to do. That's been my experience. So you'll see here I pop in search for no sleep, which is the subreddit we're on, etc., into each step. And that gives you a really good description, or I think it gives a good description to the rabbit about what you're trying to do. So you see here now I've switched to read mode as opposed to interactive mode. So I'm selecting the text that I'd like it to read, which is read the title to me. And then very important to experiment around with this a bit more, but you'll see me struggle to find the actual box of text. But that's it there. So selecting the whole box rather than just a paragraph of text was obviously a pretty pretty important part of this specific Teach Mode lesson. Now I want you to take a look at the processing here, which I know plenty of people experience issues with processing. It does happen. I think that it's probably a server-side issue. There's a lot of actions being created every day. But what I really like seeing when this is going on is how it breaks down each task and then makes a very generalized set of actions that it uses to recall that task. So you'll see here it's analyzing each step. It's extracting the components that it actually used and what it did with those components. Then breaking down the task. And I think for me, the breaking down the task is probably the impressive part, how it pulls out context from what it is you were doing to create something new. And then there you have it, this main section, which is, I suppose, maybe the action it takes. So the breakdown is sort of a contextualized vision of it. And then where it says main is, I think, again, I'm not a programmer, but I think that is where it solidifies those tasks itself. And you'll see here very specifically, it doesn't say click on no sleep. What it says is click on the desired subreddit option from the list. And so I think the point being that even though I was trying to create something that was for no sleep itself, it can do any subreddit. You'll see here it's done. So there you have it, a quick lesson in teach mode that I think shows a lot of different areas of use in teach mode, which then shows you how that can be extrapolated to other lessons and other things to teach it. I think there's a lot of uses for teach mode, and I think a lot of the community is starting to turn around to it as well. And now with it in beta for everybody, you should all be in there trying it out, because this is really the reason why we purchased the R1 in the first place. Have I found a use for it in my day-to-day yet? No, but that doesn't mean I won't. There are a lot of things that I do in my work life that use a website very similar, to something like Reddit, and I am excited to see how I can incorporate those lessons. I still do want some more protection, I would say, in terms of logging into websites. I'm still not massively comfortable logging into things like my Google account, which is probably the biggest thing that I need. But I hope that there's plenty of improvements coming with that as well. But really, this is a massive shout out to the Rabbit and the R1 team, because they've done so much work in the face of a lot of scrutiny and really pulled out all the stops here, because this works great for me. Obviously with teething problems, but it's beta, so I don't know what you're expecting. But I think that a lot of people are going to find a lot of use here, and from here the community only gets bigger, and the use cases get stronger. So here's to it, I think. So take a look at your rabbit hole, jump in, teach some lessons, see what you can see, replay some of the lessons that are showcased on the front there, see what you can find, and definitely let me know in the comments below what you've been thinking of it so far. What are some of the cool lessons you've made, and have you been able to work out a way to bring it into your day-to-day yet? So until then, let's see how deep this rabbit hole goes.